Hello, welcome to day 5 of your Kickstart. I can't believe it. How quickly has it gone? If you're still here, even if you're listening to this a little bit late, well done. Well done for showing up for yourself. Well done for not trying to be perfect. Well done for not giving up. Everyone who has been actively taking part in this Kickstart has a busy life. And you can use that as an excuse, or you can find a solution. And you can realise that the solution might not be 100% perfect, but as I've been talking about, there is no such thing as perfection. And you can find ways around that busyness. You can find ways around the barriers. So I'm really proud of you for still being here. This isn't easy. You know, it's 5 days that we've spent together. It's a really intense kind of 5 days because I'm trying to give you as much value, as much information as possible. But, you know, the journey isn't easy either. So having that support along the way is really important. That's exactly why I do what I do. So well done, as I said. Now, before we get into the content of today's lesson, I want to just talk to you about one-to-one check-ins. Okay, now one-to-one check-ins are one of the most valuable part of my programs. They provide that really specific to you feedback, advice, support and tips and actions that you don't get from taking generalized advice, even the generalized advice I've given you in the last 5 days, but your generalized advice from, you know, Instagram, etc. And they take the advice and it makes it really specific to you. So my clients absolutely love, I hope, no they do, they love, even if sometimes the information is a bit hard to hear, their one-to-one check-ins. They get a personalised video from me that provides them with feedback and support on how to make changes and improve and accelerate their results. Now I'm giving you the opportunity to get a one-to-one check-in from me, and I only do this a few times a year because on these kickstarts and resets that I run, because they take a lot of my time. They require a lot of energy from me. They require a lot of input from me. And I'm going to say it, you're lucky. Like, as I've said before, I save my time for my clients. I spend most of my time looking after my clients. And this week I'm giving you the opportunity not just to have 5 days of my time for free, but also to get a specific check-in and some specific support from me completely free. So I'm giving you today, your task is going to be to complete your check-in. And I'm going to post that link to the check-in in the WhatsApp group. You will only get feedback if you complete that check-in form. And you will only, and that check-in form will close at 9 a.m. on Saturday. So after that time, you won't be able to complete it, because then I'm going to spend my weekend going through all of your check-in forms, recording you a personalised video and sending those out to you. So I'll be doing that through the weekend. Now remember, the more detail you give me on that check-in form, the more information, the more specific I can be in my feedback, the more personalised information you will get from me. Okay, now I'll give you the opportunity, if you've been tracking food or you've got some pictures of your food through this week, then you can attach those pictures to the check-in form, or you can WhatsApp them to me privately. and I will take a look at them and give you some feedback as well. Or if you've been, tracking your food, take a screenshot of a couple of days worth of MyFitnessPal and I can give you that feedback. So that's your task today. I'm telling you up front because after 9 a.m. on Saturday, I will close the check-in form and you will not be able to complete it, and you will lose your opportunity to receive that feedback. Okay, so now that that's said, what's today's topic, Chrissy? Well, today's topic is, it's not all about the scales, I know that most of you, 99% of you in this group, want to lose weight. You've also told me you want to be healthier, you want to build healthy habits, you want to get fitter, you want to get stronger. But on 99% of everyone's forms, the first thing they put was lose weight, lose my tummy, lose my belly fat, fit into some of my clothes, be more confident. Now, let me ask you a question. If I told you I could give you the ability to lose 2 stone, and when you'd lost that 2 stone, you didn't feel any more healthy, you didn't feel any more energized, you didn't feel like you fit into your clothes any differently, and you didn't feel any more confident. Or I told you you would stay the same on the scales, but you would look and feel amazing, you would feel healthy, you would have energy, you would feel happier, your mood would be improved, and you would fit into your clothes better. Which would you take? Would you take the change on the number on the scales, or no change or limited change for feeling amazing? Because that's really what we're talking about. For years and years and years and years, most of you have been obsessed by the number on the scales. And if you haven't, I don't want you to switch off and stop listening. If the number on the scales really doesn't bother you, then well done, because you are ahead of the curve. But I still want you to listen to this, because what I'm going to talk about today could be game changing for some of you in terms of your mindset around what you're trying to do to change the way you feel about your body. Okay, so we might want to lose weight, or more accurately, body fat. As I talked about yesterday, you want to be more toned, you want to be happier about yourself, you want to feel more confident. You could do all of that and still be really unhealthy, because really, and believe me when I say this, there has been some stuff going on in my life this week that really has put into perspective just how important health is, right? If you don't have your health, but you fit into a size 10 clothes or a size 8 clothes, what's the point? So when it comes to being losing weight, and being healthier, we need to think about this term health, because health doesn't just mean your physical health. It means your mental health, right? So it means how you're feeling mentally and emotionally about yourself, about your body. It means your social health. So that could be eating with your family. Are you cooking separate meals to your family? Are you eating completely different meals to what they do? Are you giving up your social life in a bid to lose weight? Are you obsessing over the scales? Okay, because that obsession over the scales, I promise you, is holding you back. Let me tell you something. I am considered almost overweight. On the BMI scale, at times, I tip into the overweight category. I'm 5'2.5". That half is very important to other short women out there will understand. I am short. I've got loads of muscle on me. Yeah, a little bit of extra body fat, which I gained over the last couple of months because I was not focused on fat loss. I'm now focusing on fat loss, but I am considered almost overweight on the BMI scale. And I'm going to share with you in the WhatsApp group tomorrow some pictures of me to just highlight this point, okay? I spent years and years and years, 15 years of my adult life trying to get make myself as small as I possibly could. And that led me to take some actions that were not healthy. I abused laxatives in my 20s to the point where I caused myself stomach issues that I've worked really hard over the last 10 years to fix, and thank goodness they're finally fixed. I trained twice a day in the gym and then running twice a day for months and months and months to try and lose weight. I used to restrict myself. I went on ridiculous diets, like 4-day fasts, juice cleanses, as well as the things that mess with your head, like Weight Watchers and Slimming World. I did the cabbage soup diet. I did keto for a little while. I fasted, all of them. And my sole focus was trying to get as small as humanly possible. Now, my focus is on health. Now my focus is completely different, and I think I said this yesterday. My focus is being on as fit, as strong, as happy and as energetic and as healthy as I possibly can. And let me tell you, at 44 years old, I ran the London Marathon 10 years ago, and I ran a half marathon a few weeks ago. Okay, half as long, but let me tell you something. I feel better. I feel more energized, I feel fitter, I feel happier than I did 10 years ago. I feel completely different to how I felt at 34. So if you believe that a lower weight on the scales, it means you are healthier, then believe me, take it from me, it does not necessarily mean that is the case. You can lose weight, and you may have well done in the past in a really unhealthy way. When I started my own journey in fat loss, and I'll even say this, when I started very initially as a coach, I was really focused on calories and scale weight. And I'll admit now, as a coach, I've grown, I've learned, and my new focus is on all the other things that are important. Yes, women come to me because they want to lose body fat. But they lose body fat by focusing on all of these other things that I've been talking to you about this week. Your relationship with food, your habits, your, also thinking about things like your mental health, your physical health. Creating those healthy and sustainable habits, getting you strong. Yes, if you need to lose body fat, I will help you lose body fat, but not at the sacrifice of other things, not at the sacrifice of other things that are good for you in your life. And that includes things like your social life, like seeing your friends, like going out for meals. And all of this starts with that obsession with the scales. And you know what? It's not your fault, because this probably started with, maybe your mum, or what you've seen in the diet industry. I said this a few years ago, it's not you that's failed, it's the industry that has failed you. And unfortunately, there are so many charlatans out there that are selling terrible programs, terrible products that just focus on getting you as small as possible and focusing on a number. But let me tell you something, obsessing with the scales will make this process slower and harder for you than it needs to be. And this is something I really work hard with my clients to fix. So, as I said at the beginning, really think about that question. What would make you happier? 2 stone off on the scales, but still not feeling any better, not necessarily feeling more confident in your clothes. Think about that body shape we've been talking about creating. Or not much change on the scales, feeling more energized, more healthy, like you've got, you know, more zest for life and that your clothes feel better? What would you be happier with? I really want you to think about health, because it's not just about the scale weight. So now that I've kind of opened with that, I just want to talk through some of the things that trip you up when it comes to scale weight. And I need a little sip of my water because I got quite passionate about that, didn't I? If you're watching on YouTube, you'll notice I have not a scrap of makeup on. I'm still in my gym gear with my hair scraped back because I'm going to admit it, I haven't even showered yet. Anyway, so let's just talk about this, right? Your expectations of fat loss, and let's get the terminology right here, okay? I've already explained this week. You want to lose body fat. In order to lose body fat, you need to, firstly, be in a calorie deficit, which is going to require knowledge, education, tweaks and changes to the way you are eating. If you are not successfully losing body fat at the moment, something needs to change. But that calorie deficit, your nutrition, what you put in your mouth, is the most important thing. Okay, and then after that comes your protein, your walks, your sleep, your water, your stress management, your workouts. I've had conversations with some of you in the last couple of days telling me that, you know, that I just don't have enough time, or I'm not consistent enough with my exercise. And I need to remind you that if you want to lose body fat, exercise is not the most important thing you need to focus on. We don't exercise to lose body fat. We exercise for our health and to sculpt and shape our body. And the type of exercise you do in order to do that is really important. If you are exercising loads and you are still not getting the results that you are doing, that you feel you deserve, then one, your nutrition isn't right, and two, you may need to look at your exercise. But I've digressed because I'm overexcited. So your expectations, okay? You might be expecting to lose 3, 4, 5 pounds every week, okay? Because maybe you've done some really restrictive diets in the past, and that's what's happened, is you've lost 3, 4, 5, 6 pounds in the first couple of weeks. That's what you expect, but the reality is £1 a week is great. I'm really happy with that. But then the second reality is that you won't always lose £1 a week every week ongoing. Sometimes you might lose £2 a week, and then the next week, or £2 in a week, and then the next week you might only lose £0.5, and then the next week you might go up £3 because it's just before your period, or you're hormonal, or loads of other reasons that I'm going to explain to you today. Weight loss isn't linear. Fat loss isn't linear. The scales will not always go down just because you're about to step on them. So you need to stop expecting 3, 4, 5, 6 pounds of weight loss a week. Even if that's what you really want, stop expecting it, because that's not healthy and that's not sustainable. Now, if you have more body fat to lose, then it may be that at the beginning your weight loss will be quicker, your fat loss will be quicker. But it may not be. Okay, and weight loss clubs and diet clubs are to blame for this, because they pull you into a room and they just focus on that number on the scales. You know, I have an example of someone who has been a Slimming World Target member, I think they call them, for years and years and years. And she started strength training, okay? She lost body fat, and we knew she'd lost body fat by her pictures and her measurements, but she had built muscle. And because she had built muscle, her scale weight went up. So she lost her Slimming World Target membership. So let's just get this really clear. And the pictures I'm going to share with you in the weight loss, in the WhatsApp group, are going to highlight this perfectly, okay? if I put on a stone because I have built muscle and I go out of my target weight, even though I have improved my health, I have got stronger, I have made some insurances against my future self by building that muscle and probably improving my bone density and my balance and, you know, my general fitness. If I was a member at Slimming World, I would have been penalised for that. How is that sensible? How is that sensible? It makes me so cross. So instead of focusing on the number on the scales, focus on the process. Focus on ticking off your habits. If you remain consistent with your calorie deficit, your protein, your walks, your fruit and veg, you know, all the things we've been talking about, if you focus on trying to be 80% consistent with them, so that's making those choices most of the time, you will make progress. It works if you do the work. Something I posted about this week, or maybe last week, is don't be upset about the results you didn't get from the work you didn't do. But you have to stop obsessing on the scales. If you focus on the scales, you will get frustrated, you will make life harder for yourself. And often the next problem that you have is by focusing on the scales, you then have a negative reaction to what is or isn't happening on those scales. So what I mean by that is those reactions are the things that actually trip you up. So an example might be, I've weighed myself and I'm 64 kilograms. And then the next day I weigh myself and I'm 65 kilograms. And I think, what? I barely ate anything yesterday and I went for a run. Oh my God, this is ridiculous. Why is this happening? And then what happens is maybe you go into super restriction mode. You go into super restriction mode and you cut your calories by like another 300, 400 calories and you think, right, this isn't working. I need to cut my calories even more. And so you try and do that for a couple of days. And then what happens is you get knackered and you can't be bothered to go to the gym. And then you're so restricted and you've banned yourself from all of the things that you love that you hit and sit on the F it button. Because actually you've restricted yourself so much. Or you might even skip the restriction part and you might see that the scales have gone up by £2 and go, oh, well, this isn't working. I'm just going to plump my bum here on the fuck it button and I'm going to, hope for the best and just eat and drink whatever I want because it doesn't work anyway. You're reacting to the scales because you're focusing on the scales instead of having a logical approach to this, and I'm going to share the logical approach to it in just a second. So you need to have other focuses, other reasons to go on this journey, because otherwise you will never be happy. And like I said, I'm going to share some pictures with you in the WhatsApp group and they will really highlight to you where I have been really small and really unhappy. You will always be looking for the next thing. I got down to one of my lightest weights in my adult life the year I turned 40. And you can see in the picture, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. If you show up for yourself every day in the best way that you possibly can, the scales will go down without perfection. Do what you can every day. Don't let the scales or imperfection knock you off the rails for days. This happens with my clients, particularly at weekends, which is why this is such a good day for this particular podcast. They maybe go out for a meal, have a couple of glasses of wine on a Friday night, and then they think, oh, well, I've ruined it now. I may as well carry on ruining it for the rest of the weekend, and then I'll start again on Monday. And I see it in food diaries. Everything is tracked up to Friday lunchtime, and then all of a sudden, nothing from Friday through to Sunday night. They go AWOL. And did you know that from Friday afternoon through to Sunday night is 42% of your week? Your weekend is 42% of your week. So if every weekend you do this, you sit on the button, you are missing out on 42% of your results. Okay, so remember, you need to focus on other measures of success. Things like how you're feeling, your energy, your sleep, your motivation. I know motivation is a myth, but as I've already said, action breeds motivation. How your clothes fit, your measurements, progress pictures, how you're feeling, how happy you are. If you focus on the healthy habits we've been talking about this week, they are the healthy habits that you need to do for life. Doesn't matter whether you're on holiday, doesn't matter whether you are crazy busy at work, doesn't matter whether it's Christmas. You know, we navigate these situations, and these are the things that make us healthy for life. And then we add in a calorie deficit if we want fat loss. Most of you have gained and lost weight over and over and over and over and tried various diets. You've over-restricted, you've yo-yoed for most of your life. I've done that too. I did that too, and it was exhausted. I've done the panic diet before a holiday. I've restricted myself after Christmas. And this is exactly why my method works, to help you fit those habits into your busy life. Whether you are just having a run-of-the-mill busy week, whether you've got a holiday coming up, whether it's Christmas, whether it's loads of birthdays in one weekend. Because then they become habits, and you realise you don't have to do them perfectly. You realise that on holiday, no, you might not get 10,000 steps or whatever your step target is in every day, but going for a 20-minute walk every day actually is something really nice for you to do. So rather than say, well, I can't get my 10,000 steps in, so I actually won't bother doing any at all. Or even saying, you know what, I'm not going for a walk today. I'm plopping myself on this sun lounger, and that is okay. By being able to do this for the rest of your life and not focusing on the scales and not focusing on those arbitrary numbers, this means you don't need to diet again. If you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, I urge you to go and have a look back through my feed. If you don't follow me on Facebook or Instagram, what you're doing with your life. But a few days ago this week, I posted something that actually really made me giggle. It was me explaining the scales to an alien. And yeah, I just urge you to go and have a look at that and give it some love, because I created that post and I really, really giggled at myself. Because actually, when you think about it, if you tried to explain scale weight and the way we approach scale weight to anyone else, they would think we were bonkers. So I think I've given you plenty to think about in terms of not focusing on that number, but I want to give you some of the logical reasons of why the scales might go up. Okay, and there's no right or wrong way to approach scale weight. Every one of my clients is different. Some of my clients don't weigh themselves. Some of them weigh themselves most days. Some of them weigh themselves only once a month. What I don't recommend is that you weigh yourself once a week, because it's really not helpful. But one thing that I encourage all of my clients to do is also to take measurements, also to take pictures, progress pictures of themselves, and also to pick a couple of items of clothes that maybe they've struggled to fit into comfortably before, and use those as a bit of a barometer, as well as how they're feeling. Okay, but here are the logical reasons why the scales might go up from one day to the next. And actually, you know, this happened to me last week. I can't remember what days it was now, but I think I was down to 63.5 one day, and then by the next day I was up to 65.3. So nearly 2 kilograms, which is 4.4 pounds. Did I gain 4.4 pounds or 2 kilograms of body fat overnight? No, I did not. That is impossible. So here are the things. If you notice the scales staying the same or not going down overnight, or going up overnight, here are the reasons why that might be. And most of them come down to water retention. Okay, so the first thing, these are the questions to ask yourself. Where are you in your menstrual cycle? Now, even if you don't have a menstrual cycle, as a woman, you still have hormonal fluctuations in your body. They just may look different and feel different, and your symptoms may be different. But if you do still have a cycle, think about where you are. Many women in the last few days before their period arrives gain water, they bloat, they hold on to water, and their number on the scales will go up. One of my clients has been known to go up 10 pounds just before her period starts. 10 pounds. So where are you in your cycle? Some women also bloat a bit at the point of ovulation. Secondly, did you eat any salty food last night? And that could even be, like takeaways and stuff like that. So even if you ate a takeaway last night and you're pretty sure that you stayed within your calories, takeaways tend to have more salt. What does salt do? It causes us to hold on to water. So if you had a salty, more salty, rich food yesterday or the day before, that may affect the scales. How has your sleep been? How has your sleep been for the last couple of days? Because if you are underslept, if you haven't slept very well, that causes stress on the body. Stress causes water retention. So when you hear people say, don't be stressed, it will stop you from losing weight, or I can't lose weight because my cortisol levels are too high. Actually, if you're chronically stressed, that's going to affect your ability to tick off your habits every day. But the physiological reaction to stress is that the body will retain water, and lack of sleep is a stress on the body. So if you're underslept or you're having quite a stressful week, you are retaining water, and that's why the scales will be heavier. Did you work out particularly hard in the last couple of days? Did you do a really hard workout? Are you a bit sore? When our muscles are sore and need repairing, the body draws water to the muscles to help repair them. Therefore, water retention. Have you had any alcohol in the last 2 or 3 days? Again, even if you were within your calories, because alcohol can affect the scale weight for up to 48, sometimes 72 hours after you've drunk it, again, causing water retention. Did you have a particularly carby meal yesterday? Maybe you had pizza or pasta in the evening, or a jacket potato. Nothing wrong with carbs. I would hope that you all realise that now. But think of the word carbohydrate. In order for your body to store carbs as energy, it also needs to take water with it. It can't store it otherwise. So for every 1 gram of carbohydrate your body stores in your muscles, it needs to take about 3 grams of water with it. So if you had quite a carby meal yesterday, the scales might go up. Undigested food. Have you been to the toilet today? Have you drunk loads of water? If you haven't been to the toilet today, or you ate out and had a bit of a later night, there may still be undigested food in your system, which will make the scales go up. None of these things are body fat. None of them. But they are all physiological, scientific reasons why those scales may be up from one day to the next. And so, can you see why relying on the scales is so unreliable? Because none of that is body fat. That is just the body doing its thing. And if the body is just doing its thing, we don't want to stop the body retaining water when it needs to fix our muscles. We don't want the body to stop retaining water when it needs to store carbs. The body clearly needs to retain water if it's underslept or if it's a bit stressed. That's a process that it goes through. We can't stop our body from making us a bit bloated as part of our menstrual cycle. That is just part of having a menstrual cycle for most women. So if you step on the scales and you find that the scales have gone up, I want you to think through, have I been ticking the boxes 80% of the time for the last 2 weeks? Yes, I have. Okay, I need to think, might I be retaining water through some of these things Chrissy has talked about? Have I been to the toilet today? Have I drunk a load of water before I've stepped on the scales? So before you then rush to slash your calories or pop your bum on the F it button, think about this, because most of the time the answer is in either you've not been adherent to your habits for the last 2 weeks, or one of these other things or more than one of them is occurring and you are retaining water. The scales will not go down every time you step on them. Stop expecting them to. That's an unrealistic expectation. You are not broken. The scales are not broken. But your reactions to that number on the scales are unhelpful. Restricting, fasting, hitting the button. Focus less on the scales, let them go. And undoubtedly, having a coach in your corner supporting you will help you with this. My client Claire was really focused on the scale. She came to me because she said she felt like she got stuck. Every time she got to a certain weight, she got stuck and just would go backwards again. And it would really upset her. And as we've gone through her journey, there has been some times where the scales have stuck for a couple of weeks. We've had the conversation. I've asked the questions that I've taken you through today, and she's realised what's actually going on. And now we're starting to work on not being so number focused. In fact, she gave her scales to her husband and has hidden them the other day. Now, normally she just would have hit the button, but she's not doing that. And by the way, like, as I've said before, those scales don't measure your body fat. I had a great question from a client the other day. How can I accurately measure my body fat? Well, you can't unless you want to go and have, a really expensive scan. You can't. Even those scales in your gym, even those expensive scales you've got in your bathroom, they will not help you. They will not accurately tell you where your body fat is. The scales are just one part of that puzzle piece, but you need to look at the bigger picture. So if you want to see how much body fat you're losing, take pictures, take measurements, use it. I've currently got a pair of denim shorts that I'm working to get back into for my holiday in 6 weeks' time. I'm determined that they are going on holiday with me. They're a vintage pair of Levi denim cutoffs. I got them from Vinted. I was chuffed about them, and I just want to get back into them after my running training. That's how I'll know I'm losing body fat, because you know what, I could lose 4 pounds on the scales and still not be able to get into them just because I've been to the toilet and I'm not holding on to some water. So use the scales as part of the bigger picture, right? So it's almost the end of our time together. It doesn't need to end here if you don't want it to. The Last Diet Club 6-week challenge starts on Monday. Yes, I know the summer holidays are coming up. Yes, I know you're busy. That's not an excuse. You can take the power and turn that around so that it is not an excuse, and say that I'm going to do something for me anyway. Every single one of my clients is busy. I've told you this before. Every single one of my clients working with me has been on holiday at least once. Some of them about 6 times whilst they've been working with me. It doesn't matter whether you have a holiday in the next 6 weeks or not. you won't have plain sailing for the next 6 weeks. So telling yourself that it's not the right time because the summer holidays are coming up, you're going away in a couple of weeks, is another excuse. So what I want you to think about is, if you looked in your diary and tried to find 6 weeks of free time, you wouldn't find it. So if you are serious about making changes, then there will never be a right time. And if you wait, you are 6 weeks further away from your goals. All of my clients, like I say, most of them have been on holiday at least once with me, but all of them have learned to approach things like holidays, like Christmas, like busy birthday months in the family, completely different. So rather than, like I was describing before, restricting just before going on holiday and then going mental on holiday and then feeling disgusting when they get back from holiday and having to start at square one, they maintain some of their habits while they're on holiday. They don't come back feeling disgusting and rubbish and like they need to hide. Time's going to pass anyway. So saying it's not the right time and I'll wait till the end of the summer holidays, time's going to pass anyway. That's you missing out on 6 weeks of moving towards your goals rather than further back. There will always be something. There is always something. Now, this isn't a 6-week shred. It's not going to promise you 3 stone weight loss in 6 weeks. I could do that. I'm not going to. I've had clients that have lost a stone in those 6 weeks. I don't guarantee any sort of number because I give you the tools and the knowledge and the framework, but what you do with that is completely up to you. My aim is to help you navigate your busy summer while still making progress, still moving past the challenges and blocks that have held you back, maintaining that loss, and most importantly, doing it in a healthy and sustainable way that allows you to enjoy your life. I want to help you get leaner, stronger, fitter, and I'll give you everything that you need to succeed: education, specific workouts, nutrition targets, habit targets that are specifically set for you. Plus, just like we've had this week, an amazing and gorgeous community of women who are lovely and supportive and just want each other to succeed. The workouts that I provide you with are not going to be burn calories quickly workouts. They are workouts that will sculpt and shape your body. The habits and nutrition targets you get will be specifically personalized to you. Now, I shared with you in the WhatsApp group yesterday what your early bird offer is and when that runs out. So if you would like to talk to me about signing up and you would like to take advantage of that early bird offer, then let me know, message me. If you're listening to this and you haven't been part of the Kickstart and you want to join the Last Diet Club because the way I just explained it blew your mind, check the links in the show notes. Come and get in touch with me and let's have a chat, because I would love to help you. But ladies that have been on the Kickstart, this is your opportunity. Come and have a chat to me. And the offer that you've received runs out at 9 a.m. on Saturday morning. So your task for me today is to complete your check-in form. You have again until 9 a.m. on Saturday morning to do that, and then at some point over the weekend you will get a personalized video from me, just like my clients do in the Last Diet Club, and that will give you some specific pointers and feedback and some actions for you to take. So I am really looking forward to seeing those check-ins and to help you. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast, and I will see you in the WhatsApp group. Have an awesome day. Bye.